Because we know that Hercules movies not produced by Disney do oh so well. Hercules, released in 2014 and is directed by Brett Ratner, who's behind several cases of sexual assault, consistently accused of abusing his power in the film industry, and X-Men The Last Stand. And this film is starring Dwayne Johnson, Ian McShane, Rufus Sewell, Ingrid Boslow Berdal, Rebecca Ferguson, Joseph Fiennes, and John Hurt. You think you know the true legend of Hercules. He was the son of Zeus and had impeccable strength, and was forced by the god Hera to complete the 12 labors. But those are just legends. This is the true story of a legendary warrior named Hercules, who is hired with along with the rest of his team of mercenaries to help King Cottus of Thrace battle some evil Macedonians. And my teacher instincts were kicking in at the beginning of this movie, because it begins where this narrator is asking the audience, you think you know the legend of Hercules. My god, you have no idea. They're already coming after me as the audience member, thinking that I know everything about Hercules and telling me that I know shit. To which, immediately after that, they proceed to tell me everything that I know about Hercules. In the span of 5 minutes, it goes, you know nothing about the truth of Hercules. He was the son of Zeus, and he did the 12 labors, and he had impeccable strength, and he was a demigod that only another god could kill. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's what the cartoon Hercules told us. We know this. And the teacher in me was kicking in because I just wanted to tell this student that, okay, if you are giving us a persuasive speech, a persuasive argument, don't start off by saying you think you know everything, and then immediately after that proceed with telling us everything that we know. As like fact. Because it turns out all of those things are either exaggerations or they just didn't happen at all. That's the main selling point of this version of Hercules, because we've had so many versions over several decades in the world of film. And they all tell us basically the same thing. He was the son of Zeus, he was strong as hell, he had this 12 labors that he completed, he has a lovely singing voice. And a little known fact for all of you DC comic fans out there, Hercules, or Heracles, was actually the reason why the Amazons were given their own separate island that was remote and removed from all men's existence, because Heracles enslaved all of the Amazons, including Queen Hippolyta. Eventually they freed themselves, but that's why you see all the Amazons in the DC universe. You see Wonder Woman wearing these gauntlets as a reminder for them of their enslavement and their bondage. So that's a fun little continuity fact in the DC world. And I guess in real life those gauntlets were actually in representation of BDSM, because that's where the idea of Wonder Woman comes from. But you know, that's a whole other movie. The best comparison I can make with Hercules from 2014 is that King Arthur movie with Clive Owen. I believe it was like 2006, 2007, somewhere around there, where it's like, you think you know the legend of King Arthur. Well, here's what actually happened. He was just some Roman soldier. There wasn't any Camelot. There wasn't a legendary sword that he plucked out of a stone. This is just real life and real facts. That's the whole selling point behind this movie. And if you don't like that, if you like the true spectacle and the mythology of the legend of Hercules with the 12 labors and everything, you're probably not going to like this movie. But I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised with this. I was trepidatious going into this. I knew very little about it, but from what I knew, this thing got, at best, mixed reviews from critics and audiences. I actually had a really good time, and I was behind all of these characters. Especially The Rock. I think this is one of his better performances, especially when it comes to his action films. Typically, we don't get his characters that deep of intentions, but I like what he did here. Felt sorry for all the makeup artists who had to cover up his tattoos every single day of shoot, because you know that took several hours. And then reapplication throughout the day, because he's probably sweating it off or it's rubbing off. I just kept thinking, I feel really bad for all those makeup artists on set. This Hercules, he has built up this legend, spread the word throughout the known colonies that, hey, here's this guy who is almost impenetrable. He is super strong. He is legend has it he is the son of Zeus, or rumor has it he is the son of Zeus. And because of these rumors, he is sought out to be hired to do certain tasks, or win certain battles, or compete in certain wars. He's a frickin' businessman. He is a mastermind businessman. And I respect him for it. Because in all actuality, yes, he is super strong. He's the frickin' Rock. No one in this movie compares to his physique and his size, but he has a kick-ass team behind him as well. Ian McShane, who is this strange mage that follows him around and supposedly has seen his fate or seen his future and knows how he's gonna die, so every battle he's looking for this arrow that's lit on fire that's gonna strike him down because supposedly that's how he dies and that's how he knows. It was a fun running gag throughout the film that I really enjoyed. Rufus Sewell, I like him in almost everything that he's in, but every time I've seen him before, typically he's a dick, or he's a prick. I guess other than in Tristan and Isolde, that's the only time where I've actually kind of liked him. But here, he's a riot. He's the assassin with all the quip one-liners, and in the face of certain death, I like those characters. And shockingly, I didn't know this, but Rebecca Ferguson shows up here. She is the niece of John Hurt, I think, was the relation. I don't know, she's someone of importance in the kingdom, and I was pleasantly surprised. I love Rebecca Ferguson. She wasn't advertised in this movie at all. I didn't see her in any of the previews or the trailers. I guess I haven't seen the trailers in many, many years, but I had no idea she was in this thing. Which brings me to a big beef that I have with this movie, in particular with the DVD version. If you look at the DVD cover of this movie, there is this woman in this purple dress. Besides The Rock, is the biggest character on the cover. Who the fuck is she? I think she's maybe in 20 seconds of this movie. I think there was a Snyder Cut version of this, so maybe she's in a longer version and was just cut out, but in this theatrically released version, I have no idea who this person is. Why is she getting, like, second billing from The Rock? When Rebecca Ferguson is definitely the primary female character of this movie, and by all accounts is the secondary character of this entire film. Why isn't she there? Does anyone know? I have no idea. This is completely baffling me. Just a big mark for Rebecca Ferguson. I think that she needs to be way bigger than what she is right now. Yes, she's getting bigger roles as the years go along, but she really should be much bigger than what she is at this point in her career. So any chance that I get to spread the word about Rebecca Ferguson, I will definitely take. I really like the premise of this movie. I like when we humanize these legends, these people that have lived, that have just such a big mythos behind their name that it's almost impossible for us as a regular, everyday person to try to relate to. Yes, we can see how spectacular they are, and we can see the big feats that they can obtain, probably something that I cannot do, but it's also nice to see them vulnerable. It's nice to see them as an everyday person. Again, makes them more relatable. The story that this version of Hercules is in is absolutely 100% very predictable. Within the first 10 minutes, I have mapped out the entire movie in my head. I know exactly what's going to happen, and surprise, surprise, it does. They start introducing all of these side characters. They introduce a couple of these kingdoms and some people in power that, you know, seem pretty nice up front, but you go, I've watched Game of Thrones. I know who's shady and who's not. They're shady. So if you're going into this movie for some nuance or for some revolutionary story or plot device, it's nowhere to be seen here. But I really think and I really believe that this movie was a really great time. Didn't do so well in the box office. I think it has something to do with the swords and sandals genre. I mean, really, what was the last, like, really successful sword and sandals movie? My mind is going to Gladiator. I don't think Lord of the Rings wouldn't count in that. It's more fantasy sci-fi. Really, when we think of, like, you know, gladiators and Hercules and all of these mythical legends, I think Gladiator was the last one to be really successful. What is it about it that makes the sword and sandals genre so hard to break out nowadays? Really, that was the big thing back in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. Really, when sound and film was getting its start. Maybe it's because we just love technology nowadays and we love seeing combat with technology, not these primitive people with these cheap, chunky, little tiny blades and these shields. I don't know. I wish the genre would be more successful, at least in my heyday, but, you know, whatever. I still really appreciate this film. I'm gonna give Hercules 4 out of 5 Blu-rays.
It's good. It's good.
Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part in my videos where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next, and the next one comes as a recommendation from one of my subscribers who recommended this film a very long time ago. This is from Tiffany Crump. You recommended Rosemary's Baby. This is a thriller, I believe, and I've never seen this before, but I think that this is something, it's like compatible with The Exorcist, right? Because, or The Omen? I think it's like in those veins of those horror movies. I am not a horror guy, so I'm throwing things out there. I know that this film is pretty much a staple in the history of cinema, and it's one of the staples in the horror genre, so I guess I'll be happy to check it out next time. So thank you, Tiffany, for the recommendation. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, leave a recommendation below this video, or go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter and leave your recommendation there. If I have access to it, I will watch, review it, and give you a shout out on the channel. So guys, have you seen Hercules from 2014? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And if you like what you saw here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button. It helps me out with growing this channel, and bring your friends, bring your families over to Caleb Watches Movies. Have them hit subscribe, have them hit the bell so you know the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I'll see you next time with my review of Rosemary's Baby. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.